Well, hi there. This is future balder Chris than the one you're going to see in the video that you watch in just a few minutes here. So this is a study in ironing out bugs with a new process. Uh, so as you hopefully know if you're on my channel, maybe you don't, I'm the founder and head of Houndsong Games. We're working on a number of gaming projects. I'll talk more about it in the recording that follows this. But one thing that I do, and I've done for a number of years now, is I teach art and design for both online students through platforms like Udemy and CubeBrush and YouTube, and also at a collegiate level for, right now I'm teaching at Iowa State. I'm teaching some industrial design students there. Various different art and design skills, and it's a lot of fun. I'm launching what I'm calling Houndsong Academy, which is a number of ways to access tutorials that I've created either for free through YouTube or via my website as a la carte options or on our Patreon. That is all spooling up, and I recorded this class as one of the first ones, like testing out this new process, and everything went wrong. So, I wound up being a great tutorial on YouTube, on Illustrator, and how I take a typography work from Illustrator and turn it into the beginnings of how I turn it into a logo like this in Procreate via painting with that. But the second half of the recording is gone, so that's not great. And also, when I went to put together, see if I could salvage anything, I found out that my capture software was not set to capture any sort of pop-up items like the different palettes in Illustrator, or even if I right-click. So you can't always see what I'm doing. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to put this one up for free on YouTube. I'd kind of planned on doing that anyways, because this was more of an impromptu thing I wound up doing that day. It wasn't really well scripted and thought out or anything. I was just trying to record more and get in the habit of doing that. So this one's going to go up for free. It is what it is. It's not to the degree of polish that I normally expect in my paid products, but I do think it is still informative, especially if you are new at Illustrator or Procreate, or just not sure how those two programs can work together. I think there's a lot of good stuff here. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the final product, and this recording will take you through the creation of most of it through a good bit of the initial painting process. What got lost is some of the smoky swirly effects and the background images. So there we are. Having said that, I do hope you enjoy it, and I hope you find some value in it, and we will try again another day. See you later. Well, hey there, party people. This is not the tutorial I thought I was going to be making today, but it wound up being the thing that I'm working on. So I am currently trying to design the logo for one of our Relict RPG settings. I'll pull that up right now. There we are. So Relict RPG, as you may or may not know, is the game system that we are currently developing for Houndsong Games, as Houndsong Games, rather. And as part of that, we're working on some tools for GMs to create their own world, and we're also making a couple of our own, one of which will be Sea of Cinders, which is our previous flagship project before all of that OGL nonsense really threw a wrench in things. So that's our sci-fi setting. Salt and Iron is a kind of airship pirate swashbuckling setting, which I ran as a campaign for a group of friends for a number of years, and we're going to kind of remake just because we have a lot of that world fleshed out already. And then Mistrot was one that I ran for a little while, that is kind of like a gothic horror setting, and we had some plans around turning this into a whole story world campaign setting thing, and it just kind of never came together. But I still have all the the mock-ups. This was a prototype map that we made. And I, have all the lore and the monsters and all sorts of stuff kind of written out for like what it was going to be, and it just never went anywhere. So I want to kind of bring that back. But one thing it doesn't have is a cool, slick logo, like Sea of Cinders does, and Salt and Iron's going to need one too. But Sea of Cinders has this fun logo that I made. Goes with, I gotta update that actually with the relic symbol. Yeah, so this was Sea of Cinders, a lot of stuff that was going on here before that OGL nonsense happened, and now we're not messing with that anymore. It's just not worth it, even though they backed off on it. Whole other TED Talk. But anyways, Mistfraught needs a logo. Let me go ahead and disable this window. Yeah, so this will just be kind of a snapshot of like how that process works. So what I'm doing now is I've got the name of the, obviously the name of the setting. This is our Relict default font here, with some little tweaks to it. But I didn't want to do everything in just like the Relict standard, so I pulled up from Adobe a bunch of commercially available fonts that were kind of in the mood that I liked. And usually what I do is I start with a font as a template and then make modifications. So I like the vibe of some of these, but none of them are quite perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just walk you through kind of my filtering process, and then I'll pause and I'll do some work, and then I'll come back and we'll just kind of walk through the whole thing, going from here into like a final finished painted fancy color logo. So here we go. So like I said, this is our default. I just had this up here as kind of a baseline. I didn't really like how everything was sort of, it needed its own identity. This one I like, Mistfraught. It's mostly legible. It's a little bit, this gets a little confusing to the eye through here. It's very uniform, which is not a terrible thing, but might be confusing if you like saw that on a shelf or just scrolling through a page. It might just kind of blur out. So I'm conscious of that. I think this one does better there. There's a little more differentiation between the letters. That's going to go in my maybe pile over here. This one, yeah, I already said that. This one, I like the vibe. I think it's a little bit too much. There's a lot going on. I might play with that. I'm not thrilled with this just because, even though this like backlighting effect is kind of neat, I just know for a fact that in different colors, media, formats, etc., that can become a pain if you're not like really designing around it, which I don't really want to do. This one, I actually like the style of it, but some of this just gets hard for me to read, so that one's going to go. I think this one's going to go as well. These two are working for me. These are variations on the same one. I like the kind of sketchy style to it. This is, like I said, they're the same font. My issue is some of these letters in the middle here. Like, that's a W, and that's a T, but what it looks like is MISNU, which I don't love, so I think I might modify that. And then this is fun and spiky, and I enjoy that, but it's really hard to read, so it's going to go. So I think these are our 4 front runners. And let me play around a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize these, or enlarge these. This doesn't need to be here anymore. And then what I usually do, there's a couple of ways to do this. Deciding if I like, I might actually do, because this is a thin and a bold here, so I might make like the start and end heavy. Which is bad typography for most things, but since we're making a weird graphic thing, it might be okay. Alright, so what I usually do is make modifications that I want to make in Illustrator and then jump over to Rhino. Because Rhino is a decent little graphic design program, if you didn't know that. And then if, whether or not I do the Rhino step, I take the end result into Procreate for painting and use it as like a starting point. So we're just going to work in black and white for now. Deciding what I want to do with these. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is create outlines. Let me go ahead and clone these just so I have them in text format if I need them later, but we're going to go and create outlines, blam, which is going to turn these from text into graphics. So now these are all like governed by control points and stuff that I can mess with, you know, like that. All right, so what about this one do I like? I like this T. This is kind of fun. This I think is too much. I actually want to simplify the middle T here. I think that S has got too much going on there. The M I don't hate, but I might get rid of some of this like internal detailing. All right, so let's get into this a little bit. All right, so we're just going to start from one end to the other. Use my selection tool, kill that. Join those back up. Kill that. Join those. All right, that's already a little bit cleaner. This I like. Might go ahead and modify it somewhat. So I kind of would rather it come to just a little point here. All right, hold on. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. I'm going to use my little curvature doodad. There we go. That's one of my other pen options. Is this guy up here. Curvature tool. Better. All right, so simplified that. Some of these are a little drippy, but that, you know, that kind of works for the vibe. I don't hate it. Yeah, I kind of want to do the same up here. Let's do it to there. Oh. What is that? Oh, that's a handle, that's why. I thought that was another point there. Alright, so I'm going to add one right there. This doesn't need to exist. You and you. I'm going to join. Use my curvature guy. Like that. And if you can't tell, I'm using a lot of hotkeys and stuff just to keep my life simple. Alright, so I think that M looks a lot cleaner now than it did. I don't know about some of these over here. We'll see how they tickle me later. We'll see how that goes. This S, I mean, no shade to the font's creators, mind you. This is working for what it is designed for. I'm just modifying it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and square these off. So now I'm just going to take that. I'm going to take my little Pathfinder tool. Boom, boom. There's probably a lot of different ways to do that, but that's the one I use. Keep life easy. Again, I kind of liking just pointing these instead. So let's go ahead and add a point there. It's going to go to that one, so I'll grab the rest of these. Grab my curvature. Boot. Ta-da. Give that a little hoo-yah. Done. I don't mind having it in some places. Like, I don't hate that design. I just want to kind of be selective about it. Same thing with this eye here. I think that's got too many spikies going on. We're going to go ahead and do just what we did to the S. Pathfinder, or Shape Builder, rather. Oh, I got Pathfinder in my head today. There we go. Simplify that. I think this T, this one I want to simplify. Get rid of those. I'm going to get rid of those. This. we go. No, I don't want to do that. Hold on. Join those. Grab my guy. There we go. I don't know why that tool is my guy today, but it is. I'm just going to go with it. W here. Kind of coming up with a rule for myself about these points. I want to get rid of some of them. Yeah, this R is not working for me. I don't love that. So what we're going to do instead... And it's funny because I was just telling someone that I don't really consider myself a graphic designer. Like, this isn't the kind of work I normally take on. I just wind up doing a lot of it for myself. But I don't know, maybe I should be. It's just not my field of expertise, you know? It's just something I have to do out of necessity a lot of the time. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing a trick here. I get asked to do logos sometimes, and some of them I'm like, oh yeah, I got some ideas for what you're asking for, and some of them I'm like, I don't know. But I don't know, maybe I'm selling myself short, or maybe I have no idea what I'm doing. That's also possible. So what I like is that kind of shape there, and maybe what we do is we go, oops, wrong tool. Alright, I'm kind of just playing with it to see what I want to do. Using that shape builder tool, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this a bit. There we go. It's kind of fun. It's wrong, but it's kind of fun. Let's get rid of a couple of these extra points. They're just complicating life. How's that look? I think that looks a lot better, honestly. I'm going to nudge these guys over some. It's better. It's better. I like it. Compared to where we started. Okay, alright. I want to simplify a few of these. Sometimes that'll happen with a compound path. Ta-da. Just make sure it's the only thing there. Oh, I want to go ahead and join these two. Yeah, I was going to do another item illustration tutorial today, which I might still do later. See how my night goes. But I wanted to do some for the Mistrat setting, specifically because there's some cool lore that I'm excited about in there, that they make some cool stuff. But I was like, well, it doesn't really have its own identity yet. It's going to be kind of weird just being like, this is a thing, trust me. So I wanted to, you know, get a jump on that. kind of like this H here. I might simplify the bottom, though. So what's this angle here? That's kind of the sweep up angle on at least some of these letters. So if I take that, I'm going to use just Control Y on PC, mind you, to put myself into this mode. And let's go to like there. I don't know if that works. Trying to visualize it. Oh, here's the other way I can visualize it. If I make that white instead. I was almost thinking like that, but it's a little bit too high. Although actually I can pull that down, so we can go ahead and do that. Let's do that. Oh, me. I do like this T here, so I think I'm going to leave that. Actually, maybe I'll have this one come to a little point here as well. That was easy. Alright, so how it started versus how it's going. These out of the way. I am pleased with this. Yeah, I think that's an improvement. Next thing I'm gonna do, all right, I'll put that back. I want to mess with these? I don't think this one is gonna make it. I might mess with this one a little bit. Less, though. This is a, I like that this is kind of like a ghosty font, you know? The one that's really not working for me is this W here, so let's mess with that. We're gonna go ahead and actually do it like this. Just to see real quick if that's something we want to pursue or not. More legible. So this to me is a little bit more gothic medieval. This one is a little more spooky. I think both of these are worth exploring for right now. Alright, so let's refine this a little bit. Come on. Get on the path. There we go. I'm going to join these. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and take these two, join them together. And there's a couple of different tools to do that, but that one's just convenient for me right now. Smooth out those intersections somewhat. Still want it to be kind of lumpy, but I don't want some weird little artifacts in there that are going to give me trouble later. Okay, so with that W completed, this T reads a lot better, so I'm happy with that. Think. Alright, let's see if there's something to... This rarely ever works, but I think it's often worth checking. Usually two fonts don't play nice together in the same... Yeah, no, that's gonna look terrible, but let's do it for completion's sake here. You know, I don't hate the M with that, so let's try this instead. that as my key. Doot. Oh, nope, that didn't work. All right, let's do... Come on. Center that just towards the bottom. Doot. One thing I will say is I don't think these curly cues on this side work with that design, so let's go ahead and fix that. And I'm on the fence about this, because on the one hand, I kind of like some of how that's working together. On the other hand, I'm just instinctively wary about mixing fonts. It almost always is a bad idea. But here we are. So I'm going to do a little mock-up here, just to see. We do kind of a gradient on that. Put these in like a spooky gray. Dark gray down here. Yeah, actually, brighter. I lied. Which one do we like? 1. 2, 3. Am I weird for liking the mixed font on this one? Oh, this is weird. It's unusual. I think this is my guy here. I want to change that T now. I do want to do that, so let me go back up here. I want to make this a little bit more of a kind of a hybrid between the two styles. So let's go pen tool. Get rid of that. What's going on there? That, some of that. A little hoo-yah here. Ooh, no. Of course, now I'm imagining, with the border and the painted effects and everything that I want around it. Oh, this is not terrible. Do I want to mess with the kerning because I've messed with the letters now? Should we? Nope. Well, that's bad. center. Let's with some other alignment objects. Nope. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Distribute spacing. That, I think, might be a winner. Okay, okay. So this is getting decent. Do we want to mess with some of these letters in here? I think most of these look good. This R could be fixed a little bit. It's always the R's. This G is giving me some kind of feeling. I think maybe this H can be simplified too. All right, so let's do this. We're going to start down here. Just do a little bit of that. I think I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the G yet. This R, I quite like that design overall. I think this piece is just a little bit too prominent. So we're gonna go ahead and simplify. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Brings it a little bit more in line with the other one. Or with what we did with the T over here. Do I want to maybe simplify that and bring this out a little more? Yeah, I think that's nice. And you may be like, you're crazy, that looks nuts. But you know what? It's all good. Showing you how I do it, you don't have to love it. I don't know. A lot of this is experimental, but it's kind of fun. I am going to do some of the changes I made to this T on the other one. You know what I mean. I think this looks better, a little bit swoopy like that. Maybe we'll also simplify that down, like so. That's okay, that's okay. Yeah, this G, I gotta do something. I gotta do something here. It's bothering me, even if it's just a little like that. It's better. It's better for what I'm doing. I think the font itself is perfectly fine, like I said before. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, let's see how this looks with our motif. This is just kind of get a mood for it. Yeah, alright, I can work with this. Cool. So these can all just kind of get discarded off to the side. I don't think I'm going to put this in Rhino today, because it's a much more organic font. I did a lot of Rhino work for the Sea of Cinders logo, because that is very geometric and very like precisely spaced and all that kind of stuff. It's very consistent angles and spacings and offsets and stuff, so using a CAD program made that a little bit easier. And I think I designed that one basically from scratch. But we're not doing that today, so here we go. This is nice. Alright, let's resize our artboard. Just be... Actually, can I... Stand by. Sometimes it'll let me... Can't have just one artboard, I forget. I just click... Nope. Ah, there it is. Shift-click will make an artboard precisely sized to your group. That's what I was looking for. Nailed it. Cool. All right, save this. Computer, we're going to go to Houndsong. Almost walked. Alright, save here. We're going to save our Illustrator file. Done. We're going to delete all of this, and now I'm going to save a PNG, which I have to do with export in Illustrator. I always forget. Export as PNG. Use artboards. All great. Perfect. Love it. Cool. Background color transparent. High quality. Should be good. Alright, I'm going to get that over into Procreate, and we'll see you there in a minute. Alrighty, welcome to Procreate! So exciting. So, let's see here. Brought this in as a PNG. Just turned off the background layer, there we are. Let's go to crop and resize. It came in about 10 by 2 1/4, which is great. No complaints there. We are going to increase the size of our canvas up to, we'll just do what, we'll square it off to 10 by 10 for now. Just start working on it. Make that a little bigger, give myself some room off to the side. We're actually going to make that bigger. We're going to make it up to, I don't know, what is that, 16? Make it an even 16, keep you sane. DPI, for some reason going between Adobe and Procreate, the DPI always does a little weird thing where it like rounds slightly differently. I'm not too worried about it right now. Alright, so what do we want to do with this? I want something kind of gothic, kind of spooky. I've got some good examples on my desk here. Hold on. So I like these Grim Hollow books quite a lot. So they've got like a whole panel built into theirs, which is smart because it means you can kind of contain a background within the logo and just sort of drag and drop that onto whatever image or background, and it'll always look good. Which might be the way to go here. I'm thinking something with like a smoky ruin motif, you know? It's misty. I'm deciding whether or not we want to have a like background plate around it, so maybe we do. Let me see. I'm gonna do some sketching here. Hello, cat. Would you like to be on television? I can't do that for you, but I can get you on YouTube, probably. Come on. Wanna come up? Hello, dog. I'm being attacked by animals. Oh, they've left me. Alright, well. I suppose it is feeding time. I'm gonna have to attend to that in a minute. Alright, we're gonna turn on our drawing assist. Do my sketcher here. Oh, now you want up. Come on. Come on, chicken. Jump. She doesn't have a tail, so she doesn't like jumping. But you gotta be brave or you're not gonna get anything. Oh, you'll still be fed, but, you know, you're not gonna get up on the chair. Come on. You just want my attention? Come on. Oh, here she comes. You got it. Good girl. Alright, hold on. We gotta get you on camera so people believe me. Hello. Come on, little black cat. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so exciting. This is the best part of the tutorial. This is what they're tuning in for, really. You good girl. Okay, we're gonna have to get closer to the screen and the microphone here. I don't know if your purring is picking up. Yeah, a little bit. You're at least tweaking the audio capture there, kiddo. Okay, you're not helping, cat. Okay. Right. I just want... Let me draw a box. Jeez. Alright, we gotta take a break for feeding time. Feeding time over. We return. So, I was just looking over on Pinterest over here. I just typed in some, I think Misty Ruins was my, yeah. And so I'm not going to show that on the main screen because I don't want to infringe on anybody's, distribution or anything like that. Although it's Pinterest, it'd be fine, but I'm trying to be courteous more than anything. But I'm using that for some inspiration for kind of this logo design, because I'm thinking what I want is kind of like a... Let me get on my... Oh, here, that works. Oh, I forgot my stupid fancy glove. Hold on. It's in my pocket. There we go. I have this dumb little half glove, which I actually really like, but it keeps me from smudging my screen while I'm working. Anyways, what I'm thinking I want is some, like, kind of ruined something. In the background, some, like, brickwork. This is sort of some crumbled thing. I don't know, I'm figuring it out. Maybe that's, like, overgrown, like some vines and stuff. Then this is all like covered in mist, fog, with like the logo text kind of superimposed on top of that. So what I'm going to do before I commit to that direction, here's what I want to do instead. I want to just do a quick test to see if I'm even going to like that. So... got some soft, like, misty colors here. Okay, so if I select this text and I hide that, I'm going to use one of the abstract brushes. Let's use Membrane is a good one. I used that in another tutorial recently, too. I'm going to do this. It's getting something. Let's try a Gaussian blur, but I'm going to be selective about it. Alright, I know that's getting illegible, so just give me a second. Then, I'm going to do select again. Top of that, oh, here, nope, I skipped a step. Select feather. Layer up. If I just go through with like this kind of fadey blue. Could even give that a little bit of a gradient as it goes. Nope, don't like that. Too dark. Do the gold on one side. Then the lighter over here. And kind of the blue in the middle. Lighter blue, maybe. Play around with some of the blending modes. Ooh. Okay. Getting somewhere. We're going to layer up a couple of these. And this one is without any sort of feathering. So I do that. Let's do... Grabbing some of these texture brushes. Graphically, I think that's cool. I don't think it's legible right now, so what we're going to do is drop this down. That's approaching decent. Alright, this is something. So if this smoky layer was a little more deliberate... This is just a sketch for now, like I said. I don't hate it. It's not done. That's one option. Another option, which might work better if I'm honest. Alright, let's combine these. I'm going to duplicate this one. Make a separate group. Hey, doggo. What's up, man? Go, girl. The dog is boring holes into the back of my head. So maybe instead of having like a whole ruined scene behind it, that was a thought. Instead, we can do something like use this as a clipping mask. Making this out of like a stone texture. Which is easy enough to do. No, I don't even want to use that as a clipping mask, frankly. I'm just going to alpha lock it and be done with it. Done. Let's get that white out of there. It's driving me crazy. Thinking. Okay, let's go to some of our organic brushes. I'm going to use the clay to start with. Add some texture there. Hessian works okay. I think that's how you say that. Add a little bit of the blue. Really scratch it up some. Go up to spires is always fun. Use that dark kind of green-gray. I want to keep this more towards the bottom for the sake of legibility. And then I'll pick that lighter color. I want to go even lighter than that. There's a little bit of light and dark on the top and bottom. All right, that's a good starting place. Now we're going to use a clipping mask. And I'm going to paint in some light. For Academy, I'm going to pick my Let's do the crunchy renderer. Use that gold color. I'm going to say light's coming from above to the right. Is that what I want? Actually, just do a top down. It is a logo. I'm basically going to paint in a little bevel effect. And we'll do a dark layer on top of this as well. For now, we're going to start with this. Just keeping pretty light pressure. Not going too crazy. And letters are easy. You can kind of just follow the profiles, because there's not a lot of super complex geometry going on. Yeah, I'm kind of doing more of just like a straight top-down lighting condition. And we're going to do some fun special effects and misty stuff around it. But I think I want the letters to be pretty easy to read in all instances. So I'm shying away from turning them into like a smoky effect. Not that that couldn't work, but it's going to be a little trickier, and I just don't want to invest the time in that, I guess. You know, sometimes there's decisions where it's like, yeah, that could work, but something else could work too. And, you know, don't have to do everything. And maybe we'll do a little scene around it or not. I haven't really decided that yet. Now I'm kind of leaning away from it. Not because it would be bad. I think it might distract. I don't know. Like I said, I'm undecided on that front. I'm going back and forth in my head right now. Let's get our reference pane in here. Nice to kind of keep an eye on the big picture while we're working. Because we're going to zoom in, obviously, pretty heavily. Yeah, that's fine. I do have some nice foliage brushes I might use to put some vines or something on this. I'm thinking about that back in my mind right now. Normally when I do tutorials, I try to only use brushes that I can give away. So that if you buy a tutorial, I think this one's just going to go free on YouTube. But, you know, for our Patreon, or if someone buys a tutorial off of CubeBrush or Ko-fi or Coffee, whatever, something like that, I want to be able to give you the tools that I use. But since this is a free one, and using, you know, making a logo for something that we're going to use quite a bit, I might kind of relax my self-imposed restrictions there and use all of the many brushes that I have at my disposal that I have purchased from other creators over the years. I've got some really nice ones I got off CubeBrush and a couple other websites for painting thorns and branches and bushes and, you know, different plant life, which would be good here. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see if that feels necessary. this is kind of just showing, like, for the tutorials purposes, this is really, in my mind, just showing my process of, like, how I make these logos. I might continue to tinker with it beyond how long I wind up recording this. So the final product, if you check the website, might look a little different, or maybe in a week or a month or a year or something, I come up with a whole other design I like better. But for now, this is, I think, a cool little look at how we get there. Because even if I do something different, it's going to be using this workflow, more or less. Hopefully that's helpful for some folks. Not helpful, at least interesting. Sometimes I watch stuff like this just because it's fun. It gives me ideas for other stuff. Alright. Good highlight. Digging that. Let's go to a dark color. Yeah, that'll work. Do the same thing above it. Clipping mask. The clipping mask is making sure that it stays within the bounds of the letters below it. Lets you kind of set up a mask. It's really what it says on the tin. I'm keeping my brush size consistent for all these, as you can see. I want the bevel distance to be about the same. And this isn't going to be the final pass by any means. I'm going to go through with a finer brush and do some tight detail work after this, but I want to get this kind of base layer down. It's generally how I work on a lot of stuff, is start broad with the lower layers and then do finer and finer detail layers on top of them until it gets where I want it to go. Same brush as before. It's all been really with that one brush. It's been kind of nice. This is one of mine that I do give away with my tutorials. So, depending on what time you see this, we're getting our Houndsong Academy section of our Patreon up and running. If you don't know, this is as good a time for a plug as any. What that is I am working on... I've been teaching various drawing and art and design classes for both online students, and I teach at a... teach remotely for a university for a design program. I don't know if I can name it or not. I don't know if they get upset about that. I don't think they would. It's Iowa State. I'm just going to say it. Can't think of any reason why that would be a problem. I'm used to having clients with confidentiality agreements, I guess. But that's education. It's different. Anyways, so I teach remotely for Iowa State. This year, I'm teaching their industrial design and other various design program students how to use different software and design tools, including Procreate. And I am working on getting my own catalog of courses available. It's called Houndsong Academy. And so there are two ways to access that. Either you can purchase... Well, there's three ways to access that. One, like here, I post some of them for free on our YouTube channel. And sometimes those will be relatively... depending on what it is, some of those will be complete courses. Like this one, I think just the whole thing is going to go up on YouTube. Because this is sort of a weird one-off one. Sometimes those are slimmed down, kind of, not nerfed or anything, but slimmed down for YouTube. I might speed up and time-lapse some stuff where I'm just drawing for a long time. Just kind of edit it down to be more friendly with that platform. Or the other ways to access it are you can buy individual classes. Those are available or will be available through, I think, CubeBrush right now. You can find links to everything on our website. That's houndsonggames.com. There'll be links down below when appropriate. You can buy things one-off, is the point there. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and draw at the same time. You can buy things as one-off a la carte, or you can subscribe to the Houndsong Games Patreon at the Academy or higher tier, and we are going to be adding the catalog of lessons to that entirely. So that'll be cheaper if you like what we're doing and you're comfortable being a subscriber. It's not for everybody, I understand. So we're trying to give options. But if you like what we're doing, you want to support either our work, our games, or just like the tutorial content, you couldn't care less about the games, or some combination thereof, subscribing to that supports us. Monthly income is really useful for us as a business. It makes things a lot more predictable. So we offer that for probably about the price of like one class. You just can subscribe monthly and you will have access to all of the tutorials content we create. The other thing is, if you purchase it either by subscribing to our Patreon or as a one-off purchase, those purchased packages will include my Houndsong Academy brushes that I'm using right now, and also any color palettes or source files that are applicable to whatever the lesson is that day. So for example, if I draw, I just did a sword tutorial the other night. I made this, I'll show you right now. Made this guy right here, pretty happy with it. If you purchase that lesson, instead of just watching the free version on YouTube, I will include the layered Procreate and Photoshop PSD file of that drawing. So if you want to make your own version, or you just want to, like, for your own education, pick it apart and see specifically like what settings I use for stuff, just do some reverse engineering. I like to do that kind of thing, so I want to make that available to other people. Yeah, so I'm trying to provide both options for people who can't subscribe and still want to learn, because, I've been there, I get that. And then I also want to provide some value for the people who want to, like, monetarily support us. So hopefully that seems decent for everybody. Trying to cover our bases. So you can purchase them a la carte through Ko-fi or CubeBrush, depending on where things get posted. You can subscribe to get full access to our library, or you can watch just the free versions on YouTube or other platforms as they are available. And hopefully that covers all our stuff. As I'm wrapping up this, like, bevel layer here. Alright, looking decent. Now, add a layer on top of that. Do I want a clipping mask it? I think I will. I'm going to go to my crunchy taper brush. I'm going to grab that light yellow. I'm going to go through and add some details. I want to go a little smaller than that. So this brush is pressure sensitive for size, so if I push harder, it gets bigger. So this is a new one I just made like 2 days ago, so it's a little bit... Still getting used to it, I guess. But I quite like using it, so that's good. So what I'm going to do now, I might even... No, I'll keep the other layers active. I'm going to go through and add some highlights and shadows, really picking out the edges of that layer below. I want to go with a lighter color even. I'm just going to go inch this over. So, for example, if you were to purchase, maybe I'll make this available somewhere if I can. If you were to purchase this tutorial, if this was a paid one, you would get this color palette included. I don't really have an option to do that on YouTube, unfortunately, for the free ones. But it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, I'm going to kind of add some definition to some of these edges. these are really carved into stone. And I'm also going to find some places to do some, like, damage, some ruin, some cracks. Like that. And then I'm going to alternate between that and my dark color. And not all of them have to be, you know, a white and a dark. Like these are just dark lines here. Add just some interest here, and that's going to show up real nice on these highlighted areas. And if that brush is getting a little too fat for me, I can grab one of these other ones. Not even that one. Let's go this one. That one's a little bit finer, which is just a little setting I can mess with if I need to. But have a variety in this little renderer family here. I actually keep using that one. I like this one. Alright, so you can see that's just adding a little bit of interest there. I can just alternate between my two colors. I'm going to keep using that smaller brush. I'm getting a little too zoomed in there. I tend to do that. I get really hyper-focused on these tiny, tiny details that no one but me ever knows about. It's a little too much, so I'm just picking out the parts where those highlights are going to show. Gonna add some surface imperfections here. What we can even do, because we've used a clipping mask for all this, is I can go back to my clipping, or my main layer. Yeah, my clipping layer. I can grab an eraser. I can take like a chunk out of some of these edges, make it a little less perfect. Even like, yeah, just knock that whole part off. Go back to my top layer. All right, there's some cracks coming out of there. And so I'm going to continue this process for a while. I think we'll skip ahead in the tutorial here because this is just going to be a lot of the same for a bit. But I'm just kind of alternating those light and dark with that little brush, adding some damage, some cracks, etc. Kind of following those bevels that we established. But we will skip ahead here, and I will circle back when we get around to doing, like, special effects and mist and glow and whatever else I wind up doing to this thing. Not sure what that's going to be yet. I do want to incorporate some, like, mist and fog somewhere. And we'll see. I might play around with a couple of things, so I'll see you then.